KWTN 100.9 FM, Allen, Nebraska, the official radio station of the Winnebago Tribe.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to 100.9 FM, KWTN, the official radio station of the Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska. I just ran down some steps, trying to catch my breath here real quick.
Am I up? Oh, that Beth left me off again.
Oh, she's on. This is your host of the Big Voice Sports Talk Show, Coach Q, and I'm sitting alongside my big brother Buff, Quad B.
What's up?
And then we have a special guest in the house tonight. I'm going to go ahead and let her say hello to y'all. This is Darla LaPointe, the special Scholar Athlete Spotlight for tonight. Say hello.
Hey, good evening.
Yeah, we just pulled Darla out of volleyball practice down at the school, so she went right from the gym right up here, and so we're going to get a little interview in tonight. But before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know what we're going to be visiting about tonight. Our special guest is going to share a few of her stories about her upbringing, her schooling, her athletics, and then how all that stuff's linked together on what she's doing today. And then we're also going to get into a little bit about the Winnebago Lady Indians volleyball team.
Oh.
Yeah, and then a little bit later, we're going to go ahead and get on into a little bit of the Husker Huddle. I'd like to just try to talk a little bit about the Huskers. The season's coming up here pretty soon. And Coach Huge is supposed to be joining us this evening to visit with us about the new Winnebago Public School athletic schedule that just came out. The entire thing's laid out on the calendar, and we're going to talk about those schedules and some of the good home games and some of the good away games that we're going to be going to. So
Cool.
Yep. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and get into it, okay? Our special guest today, my sister Darla LaPointe. She is one of my classmates from back in the day. We are class of 1991.
Oh, shit.
Throw them up.
Oh, my gosh.
One cool thing about our little age bracket right now is we all hit the big 5-0 this year. So
Zang.
yeah, so we're 5 years away from getting a free plate down there. Yeah. Oh, Coach Huge is in the house.
And free play.
Oh,
Free
yeah.
plate and free play.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah. Hey, we ain't have to worry about nothing. We just go down to the senior center, get a meal, hop on the van, and go get some free play.
There you go.
Let's go. 5 years. Buff's got 4 years, y'all.
Huh?
Yeah.
How do I
Put my old stuff in here.
Oh,
hey.
Coach Huge is in the house. Say hello, Coach.
What's
Huge.
up, everybody? Welcome. Happy to be back.
Yeah, man. Hey, on a real note, I texted this guy one night and I said, hey, bro, I miss you, man, because, man, we spent all football and basketball season together. Like, we was like, what was it, Batman and Robin, you said?
Bert and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie.
broke back.
This guy here. That's why I like this guy in here, man. He's a comedian. Hey, but yeah, Coach Hughes just now joined us. Our little schedule's right up there on the big screen there. We can check it out. So we're going to go ahead and get into this interview. So in the past couple months, we've been doing an interview with some of our scholar athlete / community members here in Winnebago, and man, we come up with some really good ones, man.
Yep.
We did, and then a lot of them just now finishing up their schooling, getting done,
Yeah.
graduating and coming back, and already starting in, working with our people here. And I know that our spotlight scholar athlete today, Darla LaPointe, has been doing it for years and years.
Yep.
So we asked her to come on, and I'm glad that she got some time away from her volleyball girls to come up here and do this interview. So we'll just start getting into it. Darla, we'll just we always try to talk about a little bit about your upbringing because we kind of want to know a little bit the background story behind you and how you got into sports and school. But kind of give us
and then me and Quint's been there growing up from day one too, so you can't pull our leg, and we might add a few things that we remember and stuff like that. So.
I already told her that I'm not going to throw any jokes out there for her, but I didn't say that for you.
You didn't tell him?
I didn't know. I said that I'm not
I
going to
said
do
no
it.
jokes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
So keep it cool.
under the table. Under the table, a couple
PG
dollars.
over here. PG.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, I got to think then.
Okay,
Because I don't know any PG ones with her.
so we're gonna take it back. Then we're gonna take it back. Go ahead and give us a little bit of story about your upbringing and how schooling and sports kind of led you into, what you're doing today.
Okay, well, I was born in Albert Lea, Minnesota. A lot of Winnebago families lived in that area, and it just so happened that at that time, my grandma and my choka lived there, and so we were living there when I was born. We moved back to Winnebago when I was about 3. So I've been here in Winnebago since I was 3. Went to Head Start here. Teacher Frankie had that whole chunk going back then. I learned how to count to 10 in Head Start. Still remember it today. Want to thank her for that.
First shout out, good one. Good shout out.
And let's see. From there, I went to St. Augustine's. I went to kindergarten at the public school, and there was a teacher there, Miss Linnefelter.
Miss Linnefelter.
And she's probably one of my best teachers. Of course, kindergarten, you're learning a lot of things, but I always remember her being there and, teaching you the ABCs and all your beginnings and all your foundations kind of begin there. So I always remember her growing up, taking time out of her life to serve the Winnebago people. So, I think about her sometimes. I know she passed on now, but a lot of the teachers have, back when I was young. So I really didn't play sports until I think I can't remember what we were called, but we had the Broncos, the Ponies, and what else was there? Broncos, Ponies, Digits.
Yeah.
God, I hope I wasn't a digit, but I probably was.
You was. You still are.
Even back then, even with basketball and volleyball, that's what they were called too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those age groups.
That's new to me. Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. I just thought it was baseball, but good.
So that kind of, I started with softball. I wasn't that great at it, but I sure gave effort. One of my best friends for life, Bink, she played that. She was a just all-around good athlete and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I hung in there with her, and we played ball together. I only played like 1 or 2 summers, and I kind of gave it up because I really wasn't that great at that sport.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, I hit junior high, and that's where I was introduced to volleyball. I didn't play before that,
And you hit a growth spurt.
yes, I
You hit
did.
a growth spurt.
I didn't really fully grow until I was a freshman.
Yeah.
That's when I got most of my height, but yeah, I was pretty much, I wouldn't say the shortest, but I wouldn't say the tallest either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so junior high, I was introduced to volleyball. Didn't really, I guess you could say I was a so-so player. I really didn't stand out, but I gave it effort and ended up really, really liking the sport. A lot of the things that kept me playing sports were my friends, of course. Friends, Bink and Trish. We hung together. We were in the same grade. So we played pretty much all of our sports together.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I started liking volleyball. I played basketball, but that really wasn't my preferred sport. Growing up, I had my mom there. She was a single mother, raising us 5 kids, and she did the best that she could, with what she had. And that's kind of how, pretty much all single parents do it. you know, they do the best that they can for each of their children, whether they play sports or, you know, whatever their focus is in their schooling days. So she kind of pushed me. She always talked about college ever since I can remember. I was a little girl. She's like, you're going to college. I had no sense of what college was, but hey, you know, you listen to your mom. And so my freshman year, I don't really remember either. That's when Jolene and Teresa Smith and them girls, they were all seniors that year. And watching them play, got a lot of experience of how they played the game, especially basketball. They were called the Running Lady Indians back then. Shoot, they hustled, they trapped, they did everything that they had to do. And I always remember the coach, Mr. Bohannon. He was the shop teacher, but he was a good coach. And I only had him for my freshman year, and I remember the workouts he did, the plays he ran. All of those things that we learned our freshman year pretty much carried us out throughout our whole high school days. Us three girls, you know, we pretty much were there for each other throughout any sport. But the one thing that I remember was I didn't really play very much my freshman year basketball, but Jolene Parker, she was, you know, she's gone now, but she was one of our down low players, and I watched her and how she played the game, and I tried my best to, you know, replicate what she did. She was really good. She rebounded, she blocked shots, she pretty much played all around down low, and so you know, kind of learned a lot from her too. And so that next year when it was our turn to step up, there I was, center, you know, being a big player, doing my job. And that's what I express to even my kids today, my grandkids. Like, you know, it's not about having all the points. It's not about having all of this or all of that. It's about playing as a team and playing your part. And so my part was to get rebounds and block shots. And you could probably ask any girls around here who played at that time. You know, LaShawn Tobacco, I see her every once in a while, and every time I see her, boy, that girl brings that up. Man, I didn't want to go in on, you know, try to shoot against you, you know, whatever. And, you know, like I said, you know, I didn't try to try to be the number one player or anything. I did my job, and I did what I had to do. I didn't score very often, but, you know, there's some games I scored over 20 and, you know, had a good game.
All the rebounds, putbacks that you have. I remember way back then. Yeah, I remember those.
Winnebago girls basketball used to be really fun to watch back then, man. They would pack the house. You know, they would pack the house. You know, a lot of times, even nowadays, you don't get the packed house until the boys' game, but the house is packed already. By the time the girls even got done running layups, it was already filled to capacity. So that was great to watch.
Gyms were a little smaller though.
Yeah, a little smaller back then.
About 3 rows of bleachers.
I hope they'd be packed. There's only 3 rows of bleachers and 2 rows on the stage.
Yeah. So anyway, you're in high school. You know, all the seniors graduated out. You girls are coming up. You guys are the next coming of the new Running Lady Indians. And so how does that go?
Well, we pretty much coached ourselves that first year. You know, we had Spellman in there, and one of the things I wanted to say too, right before our season was over that year, when those seniors were leaving, we played our district championship up at Homer, and we played Watt Hill. And I always remember him. Oh man, he was so excited. We were 20 points up at half, and shoot, we ended up losing by 2 or 4. And, I remember the disappointment in his face as a coach, and he sat there. We got in the bus. He threw his board across the seat in the bus, and he just started crying.
Wow.
And then I always remember that. I'm just like, damn, he really wanted.
Yeah.
He really thought that was his year, and he ended up leaving. And I don't know if it was because of that or other issues. I just know, you know, that was his last year there. And so the next year we had Spellman, and I think that's the year we went to state.
Yeah.
I think, was it?
Yeah.
That next year we went to state in basketball and volleyball. My sophomore year we went both sports, and you know, that was my big year. That's when I held state records. I think I still hold one of them today, the blocks, the single blocks, but
Holy, don't touch that too much. Now it might turn to dust.
I know.
You
I gotta get it back in its cover.
These are online now. You can look them up digitally now.
That was in my little book my mom kept. I was like,
For you that got the
coffee.
visual, it looks like the
So
original.
These came out of the Bible.
Yeah. Looks
The
like
original
Looks
one.
like the Ten Commandments right there.
Oh,
Oh no, but that is. I remember
we
when
need a fish tank to look through.
I
Oh,
remember
yeah,
those
she's still
times.
on it.
Yeah.
She's still on it.
And she's still
Like I
on
said,
it.
you can look them up online too. But yeah.
Yeah, I
still
think
on it.
the only one I still have is the blocks. The kills got taken a few
Oh.
years after, but that year in '88, I was the lead of all classes. With
Yep, right there, 342.
kills, and
And she was up by 11 to the next person. Like it wasn't even close there.
Dude, you were only 15 years old.
yeah.
That was it. You were 15 years old. Let's
And
go.
those are blocks.
Yeah.
Back then, you
Blocks
could
and
block
kills.
the serve.
Yeah, and I think
Yep.
that's what
And I
made
think
that so high.
Yeah, a majority of them. Because I remember they'd try to serve them real hard over there, and you stand there, and long old ET arms and block them.
As I look at the Bible here, Patrice is even on here for total assist. She's
Yeah.
like number, like I want to say 10 or something for
All
361.
right, baby.
Yeah. All right. Buff's gonna. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, she
you
was
got
my
you got the
setter.
next half hour now, Buff. Go ahead.
But,
So I got a sister and a wife that are in here.
Uh, where's your name at?
For most knockout somewhere.
No, but I guess the question I would think of, what was the big turning point for you, like sophomore year? Was it like your upperclassmen? Was it your group that you grew up playing with? Like kind of what was in, like you said, you guys kind of coached yourselves to get yourselves there. Like what was more of the inspiration that like, hey, we're doing this year? Or was it just like you guys looked at each other, knew you had the talent, knew you could do something? Like what kind of, like, hey, let's go to state this year.
Yeah.
Like what kind of spurred that? Was it the off-season workouts? Was it just, hey, we're hanging out? Like what was the thought process in that?
Well, I think, when I think back to that time, I don't really even think we thought we would make it to state or even win state. I think when you're that age, like me, at that time, all I wanted to do was get better.
Yeah.
Better myself as much as I could, get up there on that net, play that net as much as I could. And then I got competitive with the other girls on the other side. I think that's what probably was my biggest drive was like, I want to block this girl.
I was gonna
don't
say
care
that
how
too.
hard she hits.
I was gonna chime in and say that too. Like you girls, you and Bank and Trish, and then the ones that all played in your squad. You guys kind of made everybody competitive real early. Like you didn't wait until your junior, senior year to do that. You guys graduated out, all those seniors after your freshman year, and then it was just opportunity. It was your guys' opportunity now because you guys were the next ones in lines. And I think you guys just were competitive all the time. Even in junior high, Buff, do you remember we used to go pop tickets to tournaments and stuff with these girls too? And you girls won a lot of tournaments back then, and there
Yeah.
weren't even that many tournaments back then, And but you guys were always real competitive. So when you guys got a little bit older, then you guys just went with the flow.
I mean, it's just kind of same story as, the boys, Darla's boys. We had the Winget boys on here. Second week of doing this.
Yep.
The second week, and both Matthew and David come in, and they had a good, we had a good interview with them, and they told us, of course, talks about you and their dad, both being standout high school athletes, both being 6'2", 6'3", and just, you guys both should be in a record book still, which, like I said, I just now see it there, and I know their dad's like that, but, it's just kind of same old story, I mean, you guys, I kind of lost track of
Train
what
of
I was going
thought?
to say. Yeah, I'm train of thought, 'cause I started talking about the damn Windsor boys. So they get me like that. Still proud of them clowns, man. Lost my train of thought, but go ahead. It'll come
Well,
to
like
me.
you said, it's just, I think what you're trying to get at was like just as competitors in high school. You know what I mean? Like that's something that I think the boys were able to lean on and pull from. Like, oh, my parents have done this before. And no matter, the difference in ages and the difference in the years and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think that even just that competitiveness came from you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they were able to see that and hear the stories and, good or bad from Buff. They got to hear the stories, and
That kind of goes along too with like the stories, the experiences and stuff like that. So mom and dad had stories. Hey, we've been down Lincoln. We know what it's like. We know what you guys got to do and what you guys can't do. Those kind of stories. those stories go a long way, you know, because most of our stories, they all end like around district finals or the game before that and stuff like that. So you don't really have no experience to talk about the other stuff. And then, I mean, you know, the next generation, man, it just gets better and better, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I say. But anyway, so where we were was we talked about
the year state. The year went to state. So then what happened after that year?
So after that year, the next year, my junior year, we went to state. It was a close call for basketball. You know, I think by then we were D1. I think we moved down that year to D1, so we had to travel way out and play a team. And you always think about when I did play basketball and I like to foul people.
the hatchet woman.
It was D2. Darla
Was it D2?
We were
yeah.
the lowest
Okay.
class.
Yeah. And so, I was Hack City back then, and that's another reason why they probably didn't want to come down low. GA.
Well, you got your all your records on blocks and kills and stuff in volleyball, so that just kind of transitioned over to you wanted to do the same thing in basketball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then you're the tallest one on the court where high school refs, they call all kinds of pity pat stuff. So that's what.
And like in that day and age, I guess of basketball, that's literally what the down low person did, right? Like, I mean, you're the tough guy. You're there to defend the basket, and you come into the paint. You know, you're probably going to get bumped. You're probably going to get hit, and we're going to block your shot. You know, like that was a normal thing then.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it is now. You know what I mean? Like, it was completely normal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Don't get me started with Manny. Don't get me started with Manny Menez.
And so, we went to state again, just in volleyball that year. I guess the experience is that, you know, going to state and having, you know, people cheer you on and having your back and having your community come together, you know, that's a really great feeling. Yeah. And so, you know, in my day, I got to see it 3 times. Yeah. For volleyball, though, I didn't get to play my senior year, and so, you know, we probably should have went to state my senior year too, but I had my oldest son that year, Christian, and he really plays a part in the rest of my life. You know, he was a big major change for me. Although I became a mother my senior year, I still played basketball. And I still got an offer, you know, a volleyball scholarship offer, and I wasn't sure I wanted to go. You know, my mom was like, just go try out, you never know. And so I did, and I got a scholarship, and so in the fall I headed down to Peru State, not really knowing what to expect. Got there, and that was pretty tough. It was first, you know, we got there 2 weeks early, and it was tough to adjust to, you know, college in a whole different time period. First of all, we lived in I stayed in a old building with no elevator, and had to go 3 flights of stairs to the 3rd floor. And let me tell you, after conditioning the second day, I was going all the way to one end of the step to the other with my feet because my legs were so sore. But, you know, I did the workout. I did what I had to do. And they got a new coach that year, too. So I was dealing with a new coach. You know, and he had high expectations, you know, just like, you know, me as a coach this year, I have high expectations, you know, for any player that wants to better themselves and do good and try their best and improve. You know, that's kind of what coaches look for, you know, a coachable player. Sure. So I went there and hung in there, you know, and did what I had to do because I loved the sport so much, you know, and that was really what kept me going there was my love for volleyball. You know, I wanted to play again. I wanted to keep playing. And I think when student athletes are like that and they find something that they really truly love and they understand and you know, just all around you're good at something, you know, and you want to continue that on. And so that's really what kept me there, you know, because I had to leave my son behind with my mom and went down there for a year and a half. You know, my first year I got down there and I went through practice and we're about ready to start the season, and the coach comes up and says, you know what, I got to talk to you. And I was like, oh man. So anyway, we start talking and he's like, well, I'm gonna have to redshirt you this year. And I didn't know what that meant. Nobody ever told me what red shirt meant. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear around a red shirt. Like, what do you mean? Like, and you know, he's like, well, you know, you have to get 2 out of the 3 requirements, and you only have 1. And I was like, well, what are the 3 requirements? And he's like, well, you have to graduate in the upper half of your class. You have to have an 18 or higher on your ACT, and you have to have a GPA of, what was it, 2.0 back then. And I was like, okay. And he's, well, you took the ACT once, you got a 17. And how many did you graduate with? I said 13. He said, you came in 7th in your in your class. I was like, what? So anyway, it was really hard because I only had 13 people in my class.
Yeah,
So being
yeah.
7th, you know, that's what knocked me out of the running. So I redshirted my first year and went to practices, went to some of the games, played in the off season. In this, what they called it, spring ball. So we went around, traveled around, played all the teams that we'd be playing during the regular year, got a lot of experience, and then we started that next fall season. And you know, I was ready to go. We didn't work out as hard as we did the prior year, but I was ready to go and ready to hit that ball. And so we started our season, and our best hitter ended up getting hurt, so I had to step up to the plate
Oh, snap.
as a redshirt freshman, and I did what I had to do. I played front row, and that was it. You know, that's all that really I enjoyed playing. My serve was whack, my back row was whack. Although he left me in a few games, but you know, it's that playing that net was the most enjoyable part of playing volleyball.
Yeah.
Being up on
Yeah.
that net, blocking, hitting, doing all of that. And I had a lot to learn coming from a small school, you know. A lot of the games, shoot, all you had to do is get the ball in play and set me, and shoot, it was over.
Yeah, it's over.
We went to Kickapoo one time, and I think Bink almost served the whole game. All they did was just set me up, and shoot, that was it. It was over. It wasn't like that in college, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole different ball game when you get to college and you're competing at another level. You know, you have short sets, shoot sets. I never hit one of those in my life. So, you know, I had to learn all those things. And, you know, hopefully by being the coach here at Winnebago, I'm hoping that, you know, getting that in there early, getting them to know that their options are, you know, you can go on to college, community college. You know, it doesn't have to be a university. You can get in there, you love the sport, you can continue to play. So, you know, it can be done. And, so I played my first year, and after our hitter got hurt, I stepped right in, had the most kills, the most blocks, single blocks, you know, and held my own until she got back. And she was just a really good all-around player. She played pretty much everything. So, you know, there was my competition there, you know, that year, and wanting to better myself. And then we played really good teams. You know, they had some really good hitters. You know, at that level, you know, you're not gonna block everything, and you're gonna get blocked.
Yeah.
So when
One
she
thing
got-
I wasn't used to.
When she got back, did your coach use you guys together, or did you guys sub for each other, or did you get?
No,
just
she
a
was the
bench?
middle hitter. I was right side. I was a lefty, so I played right side, outside hitter, so that's kind of how she got a lot of swings going left, right, whichever way she could do. You know, she could do it all. And me, I just didn't have that experience to be a middle player, so they made me right side backup setter, which I wasn't that great of a setter either, but I did what I had to do. You know, you get in there and you do your best, whatever your coach asks of you. You know, you got to take on that challenge and do what's got to be done for the team. You know, it's not about yourself; it's about the team, and you know, trying to get the win. and get as far as you can. You know, we almost went to nationals that year, and you know, we lost that fifth set, and man, I wanted to go because I never been there. Like, what is that?
Yeah, the whole experience of it and everything. Yeah.
And so, but anyway, we ended up losing. I think it was Doan that year, and then, you know, it was a good year. We had a pretty good year that year, and after that season was over, you know, the coach took me aside and we were talking, and he's like, I can make you an All-American player. You know, you're good enough. You know, yeah, you have some work to do on the academic side, because, you know, I was just an average student. You know, I just, C's were good for me back then, you know. And so anyway, we were talking, and then, you know, he comes down to it, and he's like, but if it wasn't for that Indian laziness, and I didn't know what he meant, you know. I didn't know how to take it either. Like, no one ever addressed me in such a manner that I had to feel offended. And I think that's the feeling I had, but I just really I couldn't identify with what he was saying to me. And so after that semester, I quit, and, you know, he tried to get me back. He sent students after me, other players, like, you know, but he already crossed that line. And, you know, there's a line there that, you know, I think that was better for me, although I love the game. And, you know, my biggest regret is letting him win that year. You know, I should have stayed on and fought it, but instead I gave up my dream, you know, of playing volleyball, and backpedaled and walked away from something that I love. And so, you know, that was the end of my volleyball career there. You know, it ended on a sour note, but I still loved the game. I still played, you know, sand volleyball, and you know, you never know what you're gonna run into. And back then, you know, a lot of people were just racist. I mean, you know, out at Peru, they had NAIA champion. The football team was the NAIA champions, and they had a lot of black people on their team. Well, they were burning crosses out there, and, you know, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And you know, it's just that's the time that, you know, I lived in. And so, you know, I came back and started in at NICC and got my associate's degree, and then moved on to Wayne State College and got my business degree. But, you know, during that time, I think the biggest impact was just not only my mom and my dad, you know, supporting me, but Chris, you know, Chris was probably the biggest motivator for me, and in all the things that I've done, you know, all my children now today, you know, 6 boys, you know, and all these years later, you know, if it wasn't for him, you know, this might have shifted a different way. You know, and, you know, so I'm real thankful for him, you know, and what happened. Yeah, it would have been nice to play my senior year, but my focus was him and our life and how we were going to build it together. And that's kind of what we have done to this day. You know, he's more of, you know, a dad to his brothers. You know, he takes on that challenge. He's a father now himself, you know, and so those things there, you know, I look at where I am today, and if it were not for the choices I had to make being a single mother, you know, then I would not be where I am today. So, you know, and then becoming a teacher, you know, that has a lot to do with being a parent. You know, my children are almost grown now. So now here I am working with our kids, you know. When I got on council, you know, that was a great thing. But I told myself, I was like, if I can't make a change here, then I'm going to the kids. Because you can build them up. You can build them up and then make an impact as they grow. So I got my teaching certificate and I started teaching. I was the assistant coach my first couple years of teaching, but for those teachers out there, man, let me tell you what, that is one of the toughest jobs I have ever had. And a lot of you guys know how many jobs I've had, But teaching, it takes the cake, because, man, not only are you, working with 20 or more kids, that's an 8-hour day. You're with other people's kids. And
you're locked in for that
Yeah.
whole 8 hours
Shoot,
with them, you know what I mean? And you might get that one break or, that little break during lunch. And
20 different attitudes.
Yeah.
Oh,
that-
yes.
that's why
Personalities.
everybody says that teachers are very, very underpaid. That's why.
Yeah. And, a lot of them, and I express this too, like, a lot of them have to be counselors. Like, for instance, for me, like with my kids that I have, my first year or second year of teaching, half my class was in foster care or being raised by somebody else.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids, they have the mentality of, my parents don't care about me because they're not here.
yeah.
And, for me, being a parent and growing up on the Winnebago Reservation, I let them know, like, you know what, your mom don't hate you, your dad don't hate you, they're making bad choices right now. But that doesn't mean that they don't love you. Don't give up on them,
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised how many of those kids still love their parents. And, I didn't grow up with my dad every day, but I still, loved him to death and would have done anything for him,
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am today. And volleyball, I'm kind of coming back around and trying to be, a coach, a good mentor. And I'm hoping to build the program up. I want to try to get in there and be a coach for the youth and, do as much as I can to build our girls up to where it used to be.
Yeah,
I want to win. I
so
want to
to-
be good.
So to like kind of piggyback off of like kind of what you just got done talking about, I mean, what we have for the agenda today, I mean, like, how do you feel like, your impact with the high school girls and like giving back to the youth, like, how do you feel that is going to link them to success? Like, I mean, what kind of efforts or even thought processes or just, coach talk that you have with them, what's gonna, like, what's the spiel or what's the message you always try to send to the kids that you're working with of, go be involved, listen to your coaches, that kind of thing. Like what's going to get them to that level of either, deciding to go to college or even just being, like I said, I always say that, like, just successful humans, you know what I mean? Just a good person, like what does sports kind of link with that for you?
Well, I know letting them know that you believe in them, and take the time to listen. Maybe you don't agree, but you know what? You still show them, that you're listening to what they have to say. I noticed that, a lot of teachers, they're overruling and they want to control everything and they want to, stay in a straight line. Like me, I'm just like, you know what? As long as we get down this hallway, we're good. Nah. And so it's a different approach of respecting them, knowing their families, knowing where they come from, and taking the time to say, hey, I know you're having a bad day, what's going on, And a lot of the times, they've been up waiting for their parents. They've been home alone. They didn't eat. You got to take that time to try to say, hey, I understand. I've been there,
Because I mean, that's one thing that I like when we set our coaches aside, are we, are out asking parents to step up and coach their kids and, going through those kind of things. I always try to add that in my spiel to them and just give them that forewarning or try to give them a little more understanding that, a lot of these kids, we try not to pay too much attention. I mean, you want to know obviously what kind of home life they're coming from, but I mean, some of our kids, like, we don't know if they ate today. You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing we always talk about. Like, are they cranky? Or this stuff? Well, hey, what'd you eat today? Ask those simple little questions. And if they didn't, we don't go and question, well, why not? How come? No, it's, okay, well, we get you something to eat. Just the little things like that as a coach that shows that you care. That shows that you are trying to pay attention to them and, like, understanding that dynamic. Like, well, who's dropping them off at practice? Is it grandma? Is it grandma? Are they walking every day? You know what I mean? And, like, we even had kids come around where, like, we have to go make sure we go pick them up for practice just to even make sure they're there. Yeah. But like you said, that's that part of being a coach that, you share, you try to give them that kind of love to the game. Like you said, you got to learn how to love the game. And at such a young age, that's something that we try to, instill in them.
Yeah, and she's got double duties up there. She's got to worry about all those kids in that classroom and then all the girls that are on that volleyball court in that locker room, So, I mean, I guess one goes with the other, but I mean, it's totally different because you got the little ones in your class and then you got the older ones in high school, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are high school girls before. You know how attitudes are, you know. But that picture that they have up on the graphic right now is from the 1988 Winnebago girls state volleyball team right there, and maybe like those kinds of pictures. You should find some old videos and show those girls what's up. I mean, you might have to go find
I think
it.
they recorded back then.
I think you might have to go find a
I don't think they had.
VHS.
I don't think the reel-to-reels held
Oh
up.
man! Find some of those old VHS tapes and try to get them onto a flash drive or something. Shit, flash drive.
Oh.
No, but yeah, like you know, on Coach Carter when he comes in and says, "Hey, if you guys want to know about me," he said, "Look up at the wall. It says it right up there." You know.
My credentials are on
Yeah.
the wall behind you.
So something like that, you know, because a lot of the girls might have just heard stories, you know,
Yeah.
just heard stories from
Yeah.
passed down from, because like I said, we're 50.
So I gotta,
Yeah.
so I gotta ask a question. Then you're talking about, you know, the coach. I'm looking at the picture or whatnot. How was Connie Getman when she was younger? Because I had her as a computers teacher
That's
when
what
I
she
was like a
was.
senior or a junior. You know what I mean? Like,
She was one of them disciplinary kind of teachers.
yeah. I mean, she was mean then.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
The same way.
Well, we just had her as a teacher, but Darla had her as a coach.
yeah.
so
How was she as a coach? I never got to see her in that realm. Like I said, you walk in
Yeah.
the classroom, you're already in trouble.
Good question, because I always wanted to know this too.
Well, if you can get through the coffee and cigarette breath, then
Well,
that's how it was.
back then it was a fridge of Pepsi. Sorry to keep cutting you off. But yeah. How was she as a coach? Yeah.
Well, she was pretty strict, and I always remember, you know, after we were kind of hitting around my sophomore year, and I think I kind of surprised her. She kind of wasn't ready for, you know, what we were becoming at that time. And I always remember she ordered this thing. It was like a blocker. It was a pole, and then it had a thing on it, and it was, you know, it was supposed to block people. She's like, "Oh, I got this for you," and I was like, "Oh man," and so she made things tough. You know, the better I got, the more she pushed me. You know, I even had to she got me these pair of shoes with I don't know what you call them, but they have the block on the bottom.
The
and
platform shoes.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
She got me a pair of those, and there I was, the only one working out on those things. I was like, why me? But I
What-
mean, you know, at the time, I
what were
was
those
why
called,
me.
Dan?
But I don't know what they were called, but I
Did
know
you
the
have a pair
boys
of
had a
those?
pair.
I
I
had
think
a
they
pair of
got them
those
from
too.
Marvin.
Well,
but-
my stepboy Levi still has some down in my basement.
You're
Big old-
talking about the what she's saying it was on your heel.
no,
Yeah, so that has
Goes on
the
the heel?
square, and then it's a heel like this. Your
Yeah.
foot goes in there at an angle.
Yeah, so when
So
you're
it's
talking
like
about
you're
those,
on-
On the toe.
you're talking about those platform ones that went over like the balls of your toes or whatever, right?
Yeah,
like that
so
one,
then
those
you're
ones.
like this, so they're like a sky jump type thing.
It's trying to keep you
So-
up on your calves, right?
Yep,
That was the whole
yep,
goal of it.
yep.
Okay, so similar to what she's talking
but
about.
then
yeah.
backwards, they had them direct.
Yeah, it was like a heel. Back then, it was
Yeah,
like a
so
heel.
You
Yeah.
put your foot in
They're-
like this, and
They're to build your
The-
calf muscles all the
Yeah.
way around.
yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, she was a pretty tough coach, and I enjoyed that because I think that's what a lot of us needed was that strictness and follow
Yeah.
through and making sure we did what we needed to do.
But I mean,
Yeah.
for her, it seemed like, I mean, even like I said, I graduated in '02 and she was still around then. I mean, that's a person that came into the community and was consistent, right? Like when she first got here, she never left,
Yeah.
right? So I think you guys all recognize that because, like you said, she was your teacher.
Yeah.
And,
Dude, after the back-to-back trips to the state tournament, Connie G was a legend after that. She was a living legend in Winnebago for a long time, man, for real. Every time they brought up Mrs. G's name, man, that's all they
Yeah.
could do. Oh, man.
One of the
Yeah.
players on that picture, that team picture we had, Kathy Wolf. She said talk about Connie G. She was a cool coach back then. I remember Kathy would come in and we just had her on one of the shows.
Oh, yeah, you guys' music show?
Yeah, from our 1990
Yeah.
crew. She was a good friend. But yeah, she was on that team there, and she's giving Connie G some props there too.
Yeah. The late Connie G. Hey, so anyway, let's kind of keep going forward with this interview. One of the questions that I had, the topics, and I know me and Coach Huge talk about this all during basketball season and football season, but off season, summer volleyball. You know, I know there's a couple coaches out there that are actually got some girls to play summer volleyball this summer, but what me and you just talk about is about making sure that every grade has off season training, whether it's leagues, tournaments, or something like that. You know, I know that we're trying to do that in basketball with all the younger boys. So try to keep them playing throughout the whole year. there's more sports out there for them to play and stuff like that. So we don't try to overwhelm them, but to keep on playing so they don't lose that muscle memory and stuff like that. You know, I think that's something that yourself and maybe whoever the junior high girls coach going to be up there at the school, and then with those youth coaches, you guys all try to have some kind of a get together where you guys are all on the same page. You know, you can tell them what you're expecting for the high school girls, so that maybe they can work on some of those same drills when they're younger, so when they get up to high school that they're all ready to go. You know.
Yeah.
So that I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you're hearing us talk about that, you know, we can all work together and try to get something like that going on during the summertime for off-season volleyball. I mean, I'm in the mix too now because my daughter's gonna be in 3rd grade, so she's gonna be playing competitive volleyball this year too. So I'm there to help too. So just know that we're here to help. So, but then moving on about that. So, what are some of your plans for the near future, Coach Darla Lapointe?
Well, I'm not too sure about summer. We'll have to look into what high school has, you know, for summer leagues or anything like that. Because as far as I know, I don't really know of too many. But we do have open gym every Wednesday for the girls. They can come in and play. Open gym every Wednesday. We're not able to coach at that point, but you know, we can still get them in there. They can still, you know, start moving around, hitting that ball around, doing things like that. I haven't. A couple of the girls said that they played sand volleyball too this summer, and that would probably be like my choice of workout for them would be getting in a summer league, so of sand volleyball. You know, that's probably one of the best workouts that they can get is.
Yeah.
So when we do our renovations to Line of Wellness, you want 2 sand volleyball pits, and Winnebago will host summer league.
Let's go.
Yeah,
That'd be good if you guys can get that. That'd be great.
You know, like
That'd be awesome to do that one. Well, I know Beth, if you can find that volleyball one. So I know that we're gonna go ahead and move in to talk about the
upcoming
volleyball
you guys
season.
are already in middle. You guys started official practice now, right?
Yep, we started Monday.
If you guys didn't know, their first game's next Thursday. It's the first day of school.
August 17th looks like the first game is gonna be at Wisner, Nebraska, down to the swamp down there. And then
Big O owned the swamp for years, so you guys should be fine.
But the graphic is up there, ladies and gentlemen, and those of you that are listening on the radio, you can find that graphic of the volleyball schedule on the Winnebago, the Big Voice Facebook page. Bethany has it posted on there.
I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but any first week of practice, I guess, any standouts that you're kind of looking forward to seeing? Any big servers? And you got any tall blockers? What's the game plan this season?
We're still in, you know, really getting them in and working them out and trying to see, you know, where everybody sat last year, which I think last year a lot of people quit and they kind of ended up with a really young team at the end of the year, a lot of freshmen. So, you know, we got to take a look at everybody and make sure that we're trying to pull out their potential, you know, whether they're a back row player, a good server. You know, we're going to start looking at all of that and trying to get our lineup ready for next Thursday.
And you got a large group out this year, too.
Yeah, we had 27.
Yeah.
27.
Numbers,
we should have 30. So, you know, we start with 30 and see what we can do and how we can work everybody into getting some playing time so they get that experience to see if that's really what they want to do, you know.
So I know, like, something that we dealt with at our youth level, kind of similar to that, like our 6th grade girls last year were a 5th grade group, but they were running almost 20 deep, you know, and then, like, you know, you only get 2 games a night. Like, it's so hard to just even get a good rotation going with those girls because it felt like, you know, we'd throw them in. No, yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
Yeah, we throw a girl in. She'd go through once and she may not never see the floor again. It's the night, you know. So it's just like, I guess, where does I always try to ask this, you know, would you rather, you know, you find your 8, 9, whatever your regular rotation would be and go be super competitive, but then as the season kind of goes along, you're seeing either you're having super success or we're kind of even, then do you just start trying to throw other girls in to mix it up? Like, kind of what's your, as a coach, what would be your philosophy in that?
Well, I think, you know, playing college ball, I'm going to lean towards that where you have specialists in almost all the areas. Yeah, you have your front row players, you have your back row players, you have your servers, you know. I plan on having a lot of subbing. I'm planning on having, you know, even our youngest girls, it's the ones that are, you know, whoever steps up to the plate and can show me that, You know, they're here for the game. They love the game. They're willing to work hard,
No, I know a
and
couple
they're
of them.
willing to perform.
I know a couple of them freshmen
So-
you got in are gonna be super
Yeah, we
competitive
had
for you.
we have like 8.
Yeah.
I think it was 8 freshmen coming
Yeah, they're
in.
gonna
So
be super competitive for you
you know.
too. That was a good group last year.
Yep. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to this season and working with them and getting them into the positions to specialize in that certain area, and trying to get as many wins as we can, you know. And I'm not looking at anybody in particular. I'm just looking at the ones that, you know, they're going to put in the time, they're going to
Yeah.
put in the
Yeah.
effort, and they're going to want to win.
Love
you
to
know?
hear it. Love to hear it.
That's exactly how it's supposed to be. That's
No,
exactly
love
how it's
to
supposed to
hear
be. So, at this point of the show, we want to go ahead and give you a little bit of time to maybe throw out some special shout outs to maybe some mentors that helped you along the way of your journey, Darla, to get to where you're at right now. Not only a former council member, but also a teacher here at our own Winnebago Public School and varsity coach.
Well, you know, I kind of already talked about my mom. You know, she was kind of my backbone through everything, watching her, you know, and her struggles and the way I was growing up. I didn't want, you know, my kids, and I think that's all parents, you know, they don't want the same thing for what they had for themselves. They want something better for their kids.
Exactly.
You know, and so having my mom there, you know, in and out, win or lose, you know, in trouble, not in trouble, you know, good or bad, she was there, always there for me. You know, my dad too, but he was taken, you know, at a young age. He was 48 years old, so he got to meet his first grandson, his second grandson, and I think that was it. And now he has a whole crew of them.
crew.
You know, whole crew. Even, you know, his children, they're all stepping up to the plate and you know, doing what they got to do. But you know, for my mom and my dad, those were my number ones, and my grams too, my grandma Vi, you know, she I always remember growing up, you know, and going to her house, and I always think about when I used to go up there and fix her hair. They used to use bobby pins, kind of put it in a curl and then put the bobby pins across. And oh man, I don't know. She let me pull her hair so many times. Like, I remember when I first did it, and she kept on kind of.
Yanking.
And then I got real good at it. And then one day she asked me to do it, and I was older, and you know, I said no, and that kind of ended that relationship. You know, that way. As we grow older, our relationships change, and you know, pretty soon I was kaka sitting, and I was old enough to do that, and got to sit with my kaka. You know, lucky enough for me to even do that with her. You know, as old as I am now, I wish I would have took advantage of that time and asked about
For
our
real.
history and got all those good stories from her.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and so I kind of regret that. But you know, and give a shout out to all of them, because they're really, you know, like I said, my number ones, the ones that were there no matter what, good or bad. Same way with my kids, you know, they're the ones pushing me. My sisters, brothers, shoot, they babysat whenever they had to. Like, I gotta go to class. I'd get off work. I gotta go to class. And so, you know, whoever was available took on that responsibility,
Yeah.
whether it was Amy, Carla, you know, whoever it could be, you know, help me get my education. And you know, it's true. It does take a family, even a community sometimes to get through a lot of things that we go through in our life, you know, and I'm real thankful to have support like that, you know, trying to get my education. And one of the things that, you know, my dad, he always wanted to have a degree, and I actually had the opportunity to take a class up at the college at Little Priest. It just turned to Little Priest, from NICC to Little Priest, and we were in an accounting class together. And I was raising Cain with him. He was on the council then, and I was like, man, how come you don't never come to class? Supposed to be the other way around.
Yeah.
And you know, he was like, man, I had a meeting, I had to do this, I had to do that. And you know, I understand now that I've been in that position.
Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
choices you have to make for putting your self first, and then backing away, saying, you know,
Yeah.
my people are first. That's what he was saying to me. And now I understand what he was saying. and he didn't finish that class that semester, and so when he passed away, in honor of him, I finished my business degree at Wayne. It took me those 4 years it takes for them to travel on. I graduated right before his 4th memorial.
Nice. Ooh.
And so
That
I'm
was a
real
good-
thankful for him and for that and that opportunity to take that class and and get that degree in honor of him.
Yeah.
It's what pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. So I had a lot of things behind me pushing me up every time I fell back. you know.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, man. Well, I want to say thank you for
Yep.
bringing up the names that you brought up. There were great shout outs, and also me a shout out to those people too, because some of those people were big influences in my life too growing up, and I know that that you going through your schooling and stuff like that, I know you was focused on what you kind of made your own little personal promise to your dad that you was going to finish up and stuff, and so here we are. Here we are today. So I do want to say thank you, Darla, for coming in today and sharing your story with the listeners. In the past few weeks, we heard a lot of good stories about our own people going out there, playing some sports. This is a sports show, and then going out, also getting their education, coming back to the community and working for our people and trying to make our community a better place. And you've been doing it ever since I can remember. So say thank you for all your service.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and I just want to give a little shout out to my granddaughter, Demia. I didn't have any girls. I didn't have the opportunities, to do that, to work with, a little daughter, a little
Yeah.
girl. So now I finally got her, and she's my granddaughter, Demia LaPointe, and let me tell you what, she's gonna be the next little volleyball player here.
Right.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
One of the
Excited to see
pushes
it.
to be a coach too. I want to coach her someday up here in high school, and I want to be right there getting that experience and watching her play.
Well, you can
so.
always help out at the youth level. They only
Yeah.
play on Sundays.
For
You know what I
real.
mean? Like
For
you
real.
always could try
Yeah.
it out and just mentor whoever the coach is or
Yep.
however. Doors always
Take-
open down there. We're
take-
always looking
take
for
her-
quality
Yeah,
coaches.
take her grade and just run with it.
Yeah,
Get
and
10
that's what I've
girls and
been-
go.
I've been thinking about doing too, so we'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
Well, that sounds good. Okay, well, thank you very much, Darla. And we're going to continue on with this interview today. We got Coach Huge in the house today. We're going to bring up the Winnebago high school athletics schedule that just came out this past week. So you see that football schedule?
And I did.
You did see that schedule?
I
Man,
did.
Winnebago's going to be on the road 5 games.
Yep.
And those games ain't even close.
No,
They're not-
No. The first one's all the way in Pine Ridge. I mean, come on now. I think bus driving. He said he's gonna take the crew and
Yeah.
we're gonna go scout out and check it out. And like as far as the football schedule goes, it's like I said, super excited to see the boys. I mean, obviously we're gonna have a lot of road games.
I'll be there for that second game.
Yeah, I mean that whole schedule right there. I mean, look at who Winnebago competed with last year. Todd County was obviously really good last year.
Yeah.
I mean, Winnebago loses a lot of top guns this year. I mean, I want to say we're going to run the table, but I don't know who the quarterback is this year.
Yeah.
I haven't heard yet. I haven't really talked to a lot of the boys.
We get
Lavelle's
TJ
back.
yeah,
Lavelle's
so you get
back.
TJ boys
Yep,
back?
but he's still nursing that knee, and I don't know if he's going to be full bore. And
You
want to
they-
talk about full.
They might be able to put Cassius back there, put him back there behind.
That's the point I'm trying to make here. I mean, you look at the previous 3 quarterbacks we had: Mr. Carnes, Vargas, and Bernie. I mean, they're all strong, running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Not saying that the boys couldn't throw. Like we can throw, but it almost sounds like you want a big, strong running back style, wildcat style guy back
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I mean, you look at who's all there. I mean, we know Cash has got the speed, but he doesn't have the experience at the high school level. You know what I mean? If you're going to put him back there, Lavelle does have some experience being the quarterback. I mean, to us, right? That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
That's what you would think. Like it's got to be Lavelle, right? So
Then Elijah Whiteberry, he was a JV quarterback last year, so he's been working out this summer. Not sure how much he grew, but I know that he's working on trying to be the backup quarterback.
yeah, I
As
mean,
a
even
youngster.
and like I said, even rotating the quarterback this year would be solid. But I mean, the one thing that's always made Winnebago really, really good is our defense, the gang tackling, right?
Yeah,
like I mean,
yeah.
everybody flying to the ball. I mean, you still got the A train back there at middle linebacker. You know, you're still going to have some solid tacklers around the area. But, I mean, to me, this year is going to be a big learning curve year for your coaches because you don't have the big studs. And I'm not saying there isn't studs on the team. I'm saying they're there. But this team being so brand new, you don't have guys that, you know, like I said, we want to see all the new guys step up. You know, it's a new year. It's a new opportunity for all of them.
This is the one where the younger ones from last year and stuff are going to have to, you know, show out. And,
Yeah,
you know, show what they can do now because
Yeah.
it's their turn, you know.
Yeah.
But I see the same thing. I think we got a lot of speed on our football team. Just I'm not exactly sure about the size that we got. But, you know, cruising downtown, we've seen all those boys out there. They got about 40 boys off of football
I'm
right
excited,
now.
man. I'm excited for
it's
football.
gonna
You guys
be-
know that I love football, man. I mean,
But that schedule, man, it goes from Pine Ridge, then we got to buy the next week, and then we travel all the way up to St. Francis to the Rosebud Res. Then we go back again to the Rosebud Res. Some of you guys that are traveling, you guys might end up
getting room.
linking up with your old snag from that last pile you went to, and
yeah,
just
'cause
stay
it's
the whole
Saturday
week
to
up there.
Thursday. It's a Thursday night game,
And
so
stay
yeah.
the whole week up there. Might as well. Shoot. Well, anyway, but then after that, we come back home for the first home game. And we play Cheyenne,
Eagle Butte.
and that's the homecoming game on
It's
the
gonna be another tough
29th.
game. It's gonna be another tough game. That was a good team last year.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be a real good one right there. And then we take off on the road. Man, look at that. We go
Standing
all the
Rock.
way to Standing Rock. That's
48, man.
like 48.
I got family up there. I got somewhere to stay, so.
All right, got to pick up that per cap check too. He said.
Nice.
Yeah, but then after that, then our last two home games are gonna be at home on October 13th against Little Wound, and then on October 20th it will be our last regular season game against Red Cloud.
All right, just real quick. I gotta ask predictions.
Predictions? Man, let's see.
hear it. What do you got? What do you got, Buff? We'll start with Buff.
All right.
I'll say they get that second week for sure.
The bye week.
Yeah, I don't even know, man. Give me if they can go 500, I'll be happy.
Okay.
500.
Okay.
4-3.
4-3.
I'm saying we make the back end of the playoffs.
Back
you know what I mean?
end?
I don't think we're gonna run the table this year unless somebody shows me. You know what I mean? Unless we start
Yeah.
watching and we see something different. That, I mean, like I said, without knowing the quarterback situation, it's hard to say. But like I said, I think we're gonna make the playoffs for sure.
You know what I think? I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Just like how some of the teams that we just talked about tonight, you lose a lot of seniors, and then you got all these young guys coming up. I think this is gonna be a good year this year because I know that a lot of those youngers, those freshmen, and sophomores, and even I don't think we have that many juniors, but those guys are hungry. They want to play. So I'm gonna say, what, 5-2?
5-2. Okay.
5-2.
No juniors. That's the A train. That's Cassius. That's the boys.
What grade's little nephew in
Mm-hmm.
Carrie's boy?
Freshman.
Raiden, freshman.
Raiden's a freshman.
That guy's gonna be a beast too. Little man already.
You know who else is going to be play really big for us this year? This year's going to be Jared Doxey.
Oh, Docs, yeah.
Doxey's going to be huge for us this year. Him and Caden Kennedy. Like I said, I'm not saying there's not studs there. I'm not, you know what I'm getting at? But
I know
like, to
what
me,
you're
the
saying.
quarterback situation, like, I mean, honestly, they should just put Caden back there.
It's because it's
You know what
it's
I
an
mean?
unknown right now. That's
Yeah,
why I mean
yeah.
for the fans anyway.
Short yardage quarterback. Put in tiny baby. Let him take one of the center.
Just fridge it all the time?
Just the
Yeah.
fridge. Just fridge.
Just take it every
Oh
time.
man, yeah. Hey,
I mean, what do you guys think about even putting Antrell back there, quarterback? You know what I mean? Like, if you need the running quarterback and stuff, I mean, essentially, you just hand the ball off to him anyway, and he's going to run on that right side and blow over 3 guys. You know what I'm saying? And, like, if you know Antrell, all he's been doing is working. You know what I mean? Caden Kennedy, same thing. As I said, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Caden carrying the ball a lot this year.
Yeah.
You know, having Elijah
Ooh,
on the outs.
I would like to see Antrell be that lead blocker.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you
he'd
guys.
he'd be blowing so many people over, man.
I gotta give the shout out to the nephew too, little Thomas Walker. I mean, the
Oh,
kid's
yeah.
walking around at 6'4".
he's big
Like,
dude,
why
too.
don't you just throw him the ball? You know what I mean?
He's
Like,
working out all
yeah.
summer.
Like, I mean, you see him getting athlete of the week and whatnot. You know, he's working out. I mean, I hope he shines this year. I really do.
Then he was at the farmer's market selling hot salsa the other day.
Salsa was the
Yeah,
bomb. The
let's go,
mangoes.
man.
I don't think Buff ever made anything that good.
Okay, so we checked out that football schedule. We checked out the volleyball schedule, and I think is there golf schedule, right?
Yeah, there's a girls' golf
And then
schedule.
there should be a girls golf schedule on there, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But I know I
So-
wanted to visit a little bit about each of these sports.
Well,
'cause
yeah, like for the
people are
girls,
getting ready.
for the girls' golf schedule, from my understanding, like, I mean, just so you guys know, they did not go to one competition last year, and it kind of hurts our heart, right? Because, like I said,
Yeah.
my daughter was the one that stepped in. She was like literally the sole golfer the entire time for 2 seasons. She got after it, and she's come back and talked to these girls about trying to go play, but funny story was that they had a Saturday morning meet, because they took like this first 2 meets off, and he said, okay, we're not ready yet, let's go to this one on a Saturday. They all slept in. Nobody even showed up. So but again, if your girls are out playing golf and at least trying, just go for it.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
It's a game of failure. You have to learn how to fail. You know what I mean? Like it's not an easy game. We all try to go play on Mondays anyway.
Is Kenny Boy coaching that?
Yep.
Girls too?
Yep.
Just go do it,
Yep.
girls, because you guys got a good
You got a
coach right
great
there.
coach sitting there, somebody that cares, somebody that really kind of knows. He really does. He literally knows what he's talking about, whether you guys
Someone
believe it or
that
not.
can be a professional already,
Yeah.
but he's here coaching you guys. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that golf schedule right there. Do we have any? Do you know if anybody's out for golf for the girls? Couple girls anyway.
Lonzo Frenchman's daughters,
Okay.
his daughters are in high school. I know that they were going out to play. So.
Well, you girls, go to practice. Listen to your coach. Get a lot of swings in. When you guys get time to practice, get out there and practice it, because it's a long golf season, girls, and it could be fun, man. It could be real fun.
Turn out fun. It'll turn out fun.
You'll really love it. You'll really love it. Hey,
I'm
Coach,
trying to help the cause there as far as out Atlanta Wellness. We've been talking about our hitting cages and all this. Well, I literally just found out I might even throw in some hitting bays out there.
Oh, yeah?
Just netted ones. That
Yeah.
you can just go out and go hit balls into the net. That'd be like kind of next to the batting cage.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, sorry, next to the batting cage. There'll just be like 3 little bays that are just open to go hit golf balls into.
Oh, that'll be great. That'll be good. Good
Just something
practice.
for the community that can go out
Yeah.
and just go swing. You know what I mean? Because we don't have a place like that here in the community, right? Everybody just kind of lines up and go hit out in the fields and
Yeah.
this
Go
and that.
look out point, hit bombs.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that would
See-
have about 500.
See who can hit the river.
Yeah.
You can go down to down in that field down there. There's probably about 3,000 balls down there.
And a couple Bigfoot.
Yeah, a couple prints.
JV football actually probably going to be looking really good this season.
Oh, man, I can't wait for that.
That line that came up from 6th grade,
Yeah.
it's just going to restack.
JV or junior high?
This JV right here.
JV. Sorry, I was mentioning junior high.
Sorry,
but
right where it says
Yeah.
JV.
I
Yeah.
didn't look at that part.
But that, like I said, that freshman group that's coming in, they were real solid last year. I think they went undefeated last year in football. Maybe lost one game.
Yeah, they
now
lost
I think
that one
about it,
game.
lost that one game. You know what I mean? But that's going to be a real solid. I didn't think about it. I mean, they could probably put Rock back there at quarterback. Just let him run the dang ball. He's so dang fast.
Yeah. Well, that JV schedule right there is the only schedule that our high school gets to look at about with schools from around here.
Yeah.
As you can notice on the first schedule, we don't have Omaha Nation on our high school
Yeah.
schedule this year. It's all away games, or mostly all away games. But we get to face Omaha Nation on September 5th for that JV
They'll
game.
be bringing all their varsity, so we want them to bring our varsity.
But anyway, so yeah, we'll go on the off of that note there. We'll just go ahead and
Fall sports, man. We're already
Fall
here.
sports.
I feel like
Oh,
we just got
that-
done, man.
that's the one I was going to talk to you about. So what about Pee Wee football? Pee Wee football, they had a sign up last week, I believe.
It's
and
still open.
It's still open.
Still open, from my understanding. Talking with Kunabas, and he's got everything lined up for him. And like I said, me and him had a long conversation in the middle of the summer, and we're honestly anticipating 30 kids in the 3rd and 4th grade team. Just because if you go back and look at like what Evan Decora and Keithan Carnes Walker did with they've been developing guys that are like in 1st grade, 2nd grade. They've been playing flag football the past 2 seasons. So you're going to look at a bunch of 3rd graders walking in that already have 2 years of football experience.
Oh, that's going to be good.
And then you've got maybe, I think, almost a 10 to 11 boys staying in the 4th grade year. So, like, you put all that together, I mean, you're literally talking 26 kids that might be out for football, as long as the moms are all okay with them playing.
Yeah.
And
They're
so,
okay with them playing flag football as soon as they get poked.
no, I'm telling you, when you went,
You can go
we literally had a conversation with the Y up there, due to the fact that like our boys were rough, is what they called it. But what was the crazy about it was that when I taught my boys flag football down in Phoenix, when we lived down there, the blocking was 2 hands across your chest and you cannot extend your arms. Come and watch one of these old flag football games. I'm telling you, it was full on 2 arms shoved down blocking. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, like they were telling the linemen to just come out and just blow people over. So I'm saying, you're talking about flag football. No, these boys are already been playing contact. The Y was allowing it, and we had a big old argument with them over it because one of our guys got up and like put his hand on his head and pushed himself up. Well, it didn't come after the fact over that the play before that, they came down on a crackdown block and blew him up. You know what I mean? Like, where was the justice there then? And you have parents coming out screaming, "Oh, he's dirty player, this and that." But like, I'm telling you, watch out for these little third grade boys, man. And you're saying it was not cupcake. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Okay.
Just-
It was not cupcake.
Just a little piece of advice. Your moms just drop your boys off at practice and then come pick them back up. You don't need to stick around.
So when you're talking about it, the signups are still open, from my understanding. They're going to start conditioning, I believe, next week, and the signups will be live during that. Like I said, but I mean, our conversation, we bought more football helmets. I encouraged him anyway. I didn't tell him what to do or nothing, but encouraged him more football helmets, more pants,
You get
get
the
more
pants back?
shoulder pads.
They get the pants back?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't
but
see that.
I mean, like, he called me today and we are talking about it. Like, it's coming, folks. I don't know the exact dates or nothing like that. It's usually September and October though. So we're ahead of it right now, and we're trying to stay ahead of it. Start conditioning, get 2-3 weeks of that in, even before you even put pads on, because football's a very physical sport. And at this age, you don't think it gets too crazy, but I'm telling you, the kids younger and younger are hitting harder and harder. They're getting faster and faster. You know, and you might see something amazing come to a little 3rd and 4th grade football game. 5th and 6th, same deal. Okay, quick question: were you guys aware that 6th graders can now play junior high sports?
No.
Did you
So
guys
what
know
they
that
can-
in Nebraska?
No.
In Nebraska, 6th graders can now play junior high sports.
So they can they have 3 years of eligibility in junior high? Is that what you're
From
saying?
my understanding,
6th,
yeah.
7th, and 8th?
Yeah, you get
Pete-
6th, 7th, and 8th.
Back in the day, Pete did. Remember, he had 3 years.
Well, he got held back a year.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. He has 3 years, though. He held back here because he's too smart for that back then. But yeah, he had 3 years of junior high.
But yeah, so like I'm saying, like you look at it like that, like, I mean, that was new to us, but from my understanding, it's like the league that we're in, they're going to let them choose, but they have to pick one. So like if you got a town like a Bancroft or a Tri-County
see.
or whatever,
I see what you're saying.
and you've got a really, really large kid, like, I mean, and he's a 6th grader, but they want him on the junior high line, like he has to choose one or the other. He can't play junior high football and play in the little youth league. You know what I'm saying? But that's new to this year, by the way. Like I said, if you guys didn't know that, yeah, that's brand new this year. So
that's-
6th graders can play junior high.
Well, I guess it's kind of good for certain athletes and stuff. So, you know, so yeah. So, I was gonna say too. So, about that junior high or the Pee Wee schedule should be coming out pretty soon. I'm not exactly sure.
I'd anticipate it at the
Pee Wee
end of the
schedule.
month. I'd
End of the
anticipate
month.
end of the month, like maybe even first week of September is when I'd expect to see it.
So-
Myself, that's when I expect to see it.
So, if you listeners, if you guys want to watch like the Pee Wee football, the home games live stream, maybe start asking around about some sponsors, because I believe that we will be able to live stream the games, the home games, if there's some sponsorship going on. So if you guys have any questions, just get a hold of Bethany up here at the radio station, and she can give you all the details about that sponsorship right there.
Coaches that I'm aware right now, 5th and 6th grade is going to be Duran, Blackfish, and Carlos Vargas are going to coach 5th and 6th grade. And
Yeah,
I believe the thought process was bringing Evan and Keithan up to 3rd and 4th grade,
Oh, that'd
because
be
they've
good.
already been working with those boys for
Yeah.
so long. You know, it's just move into the next thing now.
Yep.
You know, so I know the club's doing a lot with that. What's the new guy's name? down there that
Denton
works with
Porter.
Denton Porter. I know he's gonna step in. If you guys are referees and are interested in helping out the youth,
yeah.
coming down and reffing the games, I know they're looking for refs, consistent refs.
Yep.
I know that even like people who help run the clock, the chain gang, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all just a lot of it's just volunteer work as well. You know what I mean? But if you're about it, if you're a dad or just want to help out, I'm gonna tell you what. You want to watch the game, be the chain gang. You get the best view in the house.
Best
man.
seats in the house, dude.
Best
for
seat in
real.
the house, man.
For real. Hey, so do we have any issues or anything you want to talk about the Huskers this week, guys?
We'll have to wait till next week, man.
Bethany, can you find that schedule real quick? Like, I know that the first game is, what did you say, Buff, on August 31st?
Yep, it's Thursday night,
Thursday night, they play
Minnesota.
Minnesota. How about let's
There.
just get a little bitty short
Minnesota still got a
conversation
good
about
running back. Isn't that what killed us last year with them?
I'm not even too sure. Those guys,
don't remember that one?
those guys are like Northwestern, man. They always play Nebraska good, if not
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with this.
Well, I think
with the
it's
team.
like that just with our Nebraska sports in general, because Nebraska used to beat up on everybody so much back in the
Yep.
day that everybody just wants their number.
It is
Yeah.
like that. It is like that. So yeah, any of these schools that end up beating Nebraska for the first time, man, they're probably having big old celebrations and stuff like that.
I don't know about that one.
No, I went to that. I remember. Okay, so I loved it last year when Nebraska finally got Iowa back, because
yeah.
I was in Iowa City the year when Martinez screwed the pooch at the end of the game. We actually went to that game, and we were walking out, and all Iowa Scrands were 4 years, because they got us 4 years in a row. And I was wearing all our Husker red stuff. You know what I mean? That's all we heard the whole time. So I was so freaking happy when we finally got them back, man.
Man, I got so many Iowa fans Iowa buddies that are fans. I'm just like, man, I got so much stuff that I want to say, but they just need to win. So, but believe me, I'll let them have it last year. I'll let them have it.
That little 4 or 5 year run they had compared to the seven compared to the 20, 30 years of never losing to them ever kind of thing. Like, come on now, know your place here.
Yeah, that's crazy now. So brings me to this point though. Your wife is a alumni, right?
Yep, UNL. Yep.
Remember about those student tickets, those alumni tickets we talk about?
I was trying to talk to Aaron about them, but
yeah.
Nah, it's possible. I know that it's possible. What do you call it? Who's all down there now from the schooling? Who's all going to school down there?
I know Toby's down there.
Cherish is still down there.
Yeah. There's a couple that just graduated.
Didn't what's her name? Call girl that was used to sing at the games. Remember she sing national anthem? You guys don't remember? Jean.
Yeah.
I think Jean's still down there.
I
She
think
graduated.
she graduated this past year.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, shout out to those guys down there. Oh, hey, I tell you what though, get on those Facebook Husker sites for those tickets. They're pretty cheap nowadays anyway. So if you guys can't get us any cheap tickets, man, then we're probably gonna have to go on that site and try to follow up and at least get that. Oh man, what home
I
game is there?
need Marcel to start working on that game that we're gonna take those boys to.
Oh yeah.
And that needs to start now. You know what I mean? Reach out to those guys and let's get that rolling.
The end of the season when those games usually are. Hopefully find a good one.
Yeah.
All right. So now we are down to the last part of the show where we give out our athlete of the weeks. I've been thinking about mine. I got mine in my hand right now, and past few times I kind of gave it to the person that was in here because they were telling their story and everything like that. But I'm gonna go off of the stories that Darla told us earlier. Wow. But I'm gonna give this athlete of the week to somebody who I think maybe deserves this on behalf of Darla. But I'm gonna give my athlete of the week to Christian LaPointe for being there and being the influence that your mom needed through her troubling times and to get her to where she's at today. So if you can give that to Christian,
get a picture and send it in. They like to post them.
Yeah, so. Get a picture with them and send it to me, and I'll post it on here.
There you go.
All right.
And then I think what I'm gonna do is I haven't really been. I mean, there hasn't been too many youth things going on, but I guess last night was adult men's our league night up there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give mine to Trayvon Bear and his well, I guess it didn't even be Trayvon's team, but he always does stuff for Native AF. They made the playoffs up there for men's softball on Tuesday night. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this to him and his team for at least making the playoffs, but getting donkey jabbed in the first game. So.
They have a play-in game. They split with the team that they're tied with. Yeah, I was talking to Sean today, and they're split right now. The team that they're tied with, they went 1-1 against each other. So now they have to play a playoff game to get to that final fourth playoff spot. They're not in yet.
Okay, well, take that back, Trayvon.
You better take that back.
Taking that back, Trayvon. Never mind.
Well, here, I'll give you some time. I'll give you some time to think about one, but I got one. I got one for you. Similar to the lines that you're talking about, hearing the stories about AF today, me and Sean Walker, drinking a drive, talking about the games and what the programming that we got coming up and everything. And my player of the week here, athlete of the week here is going to go to Trunky. Because Trunky pitched them that game to get the win they needed. He came in and pitched. Meat. You're my athlete of the week, Trayvon Bear.
Okay, I thought about it. I'm just going to go ahead and give this one to Darla for her stories and all her stuff that she came in. I was trying to keep a lid on a lot of the stories because we grew up together, all of us here, same grandmas, same chokas, same uncles and aunts and stuff like that. So it was good to hear stuff that went on back then, stuff that I didn't even know that she shared, and then like her being redshirted and all that stuff. I didn't know none of that. So, Darla, I'm gonna give this to you, and thanks for having the goat and bringing him to us for him and Matthew. So, we'll give that to you for that.
Thank you.
She said thanks for being the goat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to 100.9 FM. This is KWTN. This is the Big Voice Sports Talk Show. I am your host, Coach Q, along with Quad B, Coach Huge and Darla LaPointe. Until the next week, we're going to have a real good one. So join us next week at 5 o'clock. We got you on Wednesday. We're out.
Peace.
Peace.